Today I'm going to talk about the survey design and data structure and how you're going to be use this information to frame your research question. So this is a continuation of our last week work about how to understand this survey data and use for come up with your research question. So this week, uh, the main talk is around key concept in the survey. What are the indicators we have? How the questionnaire will help us to set those kind of things, narrow down our research and dependent variables, and further we can explore the structure of the mix data sets. So these are the few points which I'm going to be talk about it. So it's more the one thing which I want to clarify about this week, again, I want to be taking some time to make sure you understand all these different components, which is a very important when you are going to be getting some idea what kind of research you want to use based when the secondary data is available, but you want to see the full potential of that. So the main thing is in quantitative um research, quantitative data analysis. So say you're dealing kind of variables, which we normally divide into two major categories, which are dependent variable and independent variable. So your research question is basically, normally what you're going to be analyzes is moving around your dependent variable. So for example, on this slide, you can see how do household poverty and parental education affect child labor participation. So child labor is your main focus, and now the household poverty and the parental education. In this case, these are the independent variables. That's the combination we normally use. So how, what are the kind of dependent variables you have that you can use in this research? That's basically I'm going to be explain you the different possibilities based on the multiple indicator cluster survey data sets. So what is dependent variable? And simply it's a outcome or response variable in a study, and it's what you are trying to explain, predict, or measure the effects on. So it changes based on the influence of one or more independent variables. So that's one of the way you can explain it. So it's depending on some other variables, and other variables are basically considered as the independent variables. So in that previous example, so with the child level, uh, what we discussed about it. So child label, which we use as a dependent variable, and then they have two other independent variable, and we're trying to see the relationship between them. And there are more examples and more structured examples of the dependent variables. We can see there's two more examples. There's a child mortality rate, and this is an example of your dependent variable, and there are some number of independent variables you can choose. For example, maternal education, health care access could be among them. And in case school attendance rate, so that dependent variable is could be depending on household income, parental literacy, and school infrastructure. So I'm going to share with you a number of different thematic areas based on the multiple indicator cluster survey. If you want to be run some analysis, you're planning to use the mixed survey, and there are a number of topics which you can pick, and I can go through those topics for your understanding. If you want to pick some area, it will be helpful. So first one is the health indicators. So health indicators, if you can see, there are five different examples on this slide, starting with the low birth weight. Vaccination coverage is also important, especially after this COVID spell. So you can see that kind of vaccination coverage is more important to make sure everybody is safe. And the childhood like deficiency of different kind of things could be also be part of that. A list of indicator, infant mortality rate, or some waterborne diseases, water-related diseases could be also possible. So these are the different areas which, if somebody is interested to be or do some research on health indicators, so these are the things which you can find in multiple indicator cluster survey. So if you're looking a little bit different from the health point of view, then but closely related, nutrition and development could be another area where we can go to exclusive breastfeeding rate. It's also important research topic, children's mental health, grooming, and there are some things are related. So they can also understand those prevalence of breastfeeding patterns. Wasting in children is also malnourishment kind of area. So if you're looking more health related deficiencies, so you can run this kind of analysis, and vitamin A deficiency is also including in those areas. So these are the different examples of the dependent variables or focus of the research based on the multiple indicator cluster survey. There is another set where you can see the education and child welfare. It's a tentative theme. I put those variable under that. So here we have four different examples. So starting with the literacy rate, and literacy rate could be the 10 plus population, 15 plus population, and you want to see the young population 15 to 24. If you want to see some other age groups depending on some thematic classification of those population groups, so you can see the literacy rate among them. And then if you want to see more school level indicators, drop rate could be one of them at the primary level, at the secondary level, or there are other information so you can see what's the more important for your point of view. You can pick, but there are a number of options you can pick at the dependent variable. And the child labor is again, we have talked about it. And then the teenager pregnancy rate is also there, and child marriage and these kind of things could be a factor in it. So there are a number of things you can see. Different variables are available, and the three more examples where you can see access to drinking, safe drinking water is another way to look the data sets. Domestic violence incidence is also there, is including the intimate partner violence, and child discipline practices also there, and they could be categorized into overall practices, and then they have a severe discipline practices. So they you can pick what your focus is based on this data set. So Yes, I just give you the ideas, kind of a possible research you can see, and then when you look at those resources, data sets, questionnaires, you will see more ideas how this data sets could be helpful to run the quantitative data analysis research. And once you finalize some dependent variable, and then we will start looking the more relevant independent variable which can explain the variation in the dependent variables and predict and those kind of things you can see. So most crucial part is getting the ideas. So in this presentation, in this lecture, you can see I give you a lot of different examples and some variation within those examples you can see. So now I am going to be give you another point of view, how you want to see this information to make it your own version of those dependent variables. So in this case, there are three documents which I would like to you to just recall it, which we have discussed slightly in the last lecture, but I'm going to be give you a little bit more overview about these three pieces of information, which is crucial when you're making some decision and narrow down your research question and your dependent variable more importantly. So first one is report. So when UNICEF website for the mix. They put the data online. They also provide a report, which is usually the research findings, survey findings. They give you the some like preliminary analysis of the data sets. As just want to remind you, this is a cross-sectional data survey, so they will give you the snapshot of the whole of the survey and based on their standardized template across the different countries. So they want to be consistent in the reporting when from one survey to the other. So survey to understand better the report, you need to be understand the questionnaire and then questionnaire linked with the SPSS data file. So these three pieces are which I want to be focused in the next three slides. So survey findings. I have recorded a video and to show you some part of the report. I'm going to play that video so you can see what options we have here. This is example report, uh, survey finding report for Balochistan. And there are different important sections which I want to be go through with you guys. So first is the date, and then there is a page. If you look at the uh, s- summary table of survey implementation and survey population. So the most important thing you can see in this region is basically we have some survey details which you need to be know, and then you need to be find that detail for the each and every survey in the next video clip, and how much like the detail about that survey samples is available here too, and we can understand the background of the survey, how much population they covered in during that. Then we need to be know about the different kind of dimensions. So for example, this is the contextual factors, and we have also urban rural area wise too. We have some divisions, and of course they have some district level information as well. So we need to understand that this whole report, which is important for how to set the questionnaire. And then they have a different portion of this report, which is we can explain the different dependent variables. So what we are trying to do is here, we want to find a way how we can set a good questionnaire, a good research question using the questionnaires and the reports based on the key survey findings. So this is something you can see all the list of different variables, potential variables, and each and variable could be a potential dependent variable for your research. And in case when you're not sure which area of research you want to focus, you can see the different themes, broader areas, and then you can within that you can find important issue which you need to be further investigate. So this report is like over 700 pages which you need to be have a skim and then understand which area of research you want to be narrowed down to further um, your to continue your research. And at the end of this report, there are some important information which you need to be understand. So if you want to see the more geographical level sample representation, so here is a district level table which you can see that you can explore it. Then more important is the different questionnaires which you need to be read and understand how the question was actually initially phrased and asked during the survey. So then you have a better understanding about that variable which you're going to be focused in your research. As
Okay,
you know, there are different questions. So the first piece was about the report, and now I want to be give you a little bit idea about that the household questionnaires, how they are basically the located. So let's see that one. Years as a part of the mix survey. So you need to be understand where you can find that questionnaire and how you want to be read different questions when they collect the data set. So for example, if you want to go to the household level survey, so which is the page number starting at a 420, and if you want to be go to the woman age 15 to 49, and that the PDF page number is 451. So that is a survey which if you want to be some if you want to take some questions from this section, you need to be go there. And if you are talking about children age 5 to 17, so that is 539 is the PDF page which you need to go. So now if you look at the inside the questionnaire, so for example, in this children 5 to 17 years, and there are some questions, some basic background information panel, and then there's some starting question about that to relate the recalling. This is example report. As you know, there are example in these children 5 to 17 years, and there are some questions, some basic background information panel, and then there's some starting question about that to relate the recalling in the initial question in the household level, and then you will be see them. As you know, there are different questions. How do you want to see and that? So if you want to understand how they determine the child label, so that's the first question, and they ask about it. So since last day of the week did your the children name, do you do any of the following activities even for only 1 hour? So this is the actual context of this question, how they determine, and there are four questions and the to respond. So then the logic is yes or no. Response option is yes or no. And at the end of this, there's a CL2 question, which is basically telling you if you want to determine the child labor doing some child involved in the child labor activities. So you have to be see at least one yes. So if you want to say the child is not engaged in the child labor activities, so it means they all has to be no in this case. So this is the way you need to be understand the question and how they ask. So it will be helpful to understand the dependent variable which you're going to be choose. So there are different other ways to see that questions. So most important piece is basically you need to understand where the question, you can find the questionnaire under the survey finding report, and it's a very large survey. It has a different questionnaire, so each questionnaire has a number of different questions. So you need to be get familiar with that, and I would suggest to write down the page numbers so you can easily move around in that from here and there. So this is another example where the child discipline question is, and now they have like number of questions which break down those whole theme into different questions, and then you can use this question to group them. So if there are some set of questions in that whole group, so which can be defined as like the punishment is more severe or not severe, so they can categorize by the set of the question, they can group them together. So the most important thing is you need to be get familiar with this questionnaire before locking your research question and the dependent variable in this case. So the last piece of this is SPSS data files. So I'm going to play the video and we'll see. So when you download the data in SPSS format, so they will give you one README file, and then they will be different SPSS files based on the different questionnaires, so which we discussed in the previous section. So I'm going to show you the FS section, which is for the children 5 to 17 age group. So when you open the table, it will give you the overview summary. So they have 276 variables, and total number of cases is 17 1,544. These are the number of children, in other words, they have interviewed in this questionnaire. And if you want to see the data view, so this is the way the data is recorded. So you can see the different variables. Those over 200 variables are here. And if you want to see the variable view, so this will help you to understand the variable view in that case. So first name. So name is as per questionnaire. So if you remember, the questionnaire about the child labor was CL. So this is a question. I can see the CL, A, B, C, and X. These are the questions related to the child labor. So these are the four different. They give you the a brief label for this question, and then you see how they recorded it. So these are the possibilities you see: one for yes and two for no and nine for no response. So this is a similar in all four cases. So this is the main data set if you want to do the child labor, and this is the question you need to be work on that, and then making some important information other than that. So one more thing, which is before going into that, we need to look in the beginning of the this file. So there will be a called result of the interview. So this row, result of interview for children 5 to 17. So we need to be select some cases, because all not all the records or cases are complete, like the interview is completed for them. So we need to find where the value is one, which is completed. In some cases, they couldn't complete or conduct the interview because of the other reasons. So we need to aware of this field, so that we're going to be used to select case, and that will I will show you when I'm going to run that descriptive statistics and other steps in the next video. So but this is the most important variable you need to be understand when you want to be running that analysis. Beside that, at the end of the this usually the all the survey files and SPSS tables. So at the end of that, they give you some information independent variables, which is important to pick from them when you want to run some regression and bivariant analysis. You can use those kind of those variables. Among them, there is a one important piece which is you need to be also aware, because this is a survey is based on the sampling, representative sampling at the district level in this particular survey. So we need to know the weight when you will analyze the data and you want to do the analysis, weighted analysis. You need to know which variables is completing that sampling related information. So there is usually you can find that variable at the end. I can see somewhere gender is more okay, but it will be in the data sets which you need to be concerned. So let's go in at the end of this survey. So I think I might overlook that variable. So that's the data set. So when you want to run the analysis, you need to know what has to be set before that. So mother's education, diction, district, combined. This is a weight. Okay. FS weight is a variable which we will need to be used when we're running that analysis, and we need to set this one as a sample weight. So uh, these are the few things which you need to be familiar and go through, open the data after downloading and use the software SPSS as possible, because it's easy to, because the data is in that format, and if you convert then you have to be conversion in other programs that you have to be do carefully. So this is something you need to be understand when you dealing with the SPSS files, and what the most important parts of the files are there. So this is all about the how to set the question, research, narrow down research areas, and how to consult the different documents. So the next week, I'm going to talk about how to start the data analysis using SPSS software, and we will start from dealing with the variables, preparing them, preparing new variables based on the existing data set. For example, in child labor, we have a four questions, so we need to create a new variable. So I'm going to be show you how to prepare your data and for the analysis and running a basic descriptive analysis using that. Thank you very much for watching this talk. And if you have any questions, feedbacks, and please send me through the comment, and I'll definitely try to address them into the next before going to record the next lecture. Thank you very much, and bye now.